Hey everyone, I'm Brent Skarkey from the State Chamber of Oklahoma. It's an election year and we're excited to kick off a new interview series on okdecides.com. The site, the best way to stay up to date with the latest candidate developments in our state. The State Chamber's Chad Warmington going one-on-one with statewide office candidates to give the business community and Oklahomans a great look at what the men and women who are running for office are all about. The interview does not constitute an endorsement from the State Chamber. It's just a place where they can be heard and voters can learn more.
All right, we're here with Jon Echols. Jon, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Coming in as a candidate for Attorney General, but you are very familiar to our friends at the State Chamber and all over the state. I want to give you a little bit of an introduction to Jon for those of you that don't know him. So Jon's a fifth-generation Oklahoman, small business owner, an attorney with degrees from the University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma City. He served 12 years in the Oklahoma House of Representatives, District 90, and 8 years, news to me, I didn't realize it was 8 years. You did 8 years as Majority Floor Leader, which is incredible. During his tenure, he helped oversee state legislation that created the Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency. He was involved in every manner of business issues that you can imagine. If it was a business issue and it was a controversy, you usually jumped in the middle to help.
Almost always. I was the fixer.
Yeah, you're in the middle of it. He served on the board of the City Rescue Mission. He's co-founded Shelter Oklahoma Schools, a nonprofit supporting storm shelter construction statewide, and then is a serial entrepreneur as well. So thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me here. It's exciting. I love being back at the State Chamber, and I appreciate getting to talk to you.
Well, I'm excited to get your take on this first question, because I know you're going to have a good one. So, thinking big picture, broad.
Yeah.
You're running for Attorney General, but what's the vision you're hoping to execute for Oklahoma through that Attorney General's position?
Man, absolutely. So we've been running throughout the state, and the campaign has caught on like wildfire because we have the right message. You talked about my background, small business owner, lawyer, but that 12 years in the legislature, I know what the job does. I'm aware of the job of Attorney General, and I'm campaigning on a safer, freer, stronger Oklahoma. And what we mean by that is unashamedly public safety backed. As a matter of fact, at taping, I have 57 of the 77 sheriffs have already endorsed me. We are going to root out fentanyl inside the state of Oklahoma. We're going to stand for our conservative values. That's freer. And then on a stronger Oklahoma, we're going to protect taxpayer dollars. That's the job of the Attorney General.
Yeah, that's root out fentanyl. I like that.
Root it out. Root and stem. We have got to, in the rest of the country, fentanyl deaths are going down. In Oklahoma, fentanyl deaths are going up. We absolutely have to, and the Attorney General's office is key in doing this. I know because I'm the guy that passed the bill that gave them the authority to do it. So I'm very aware.
Very familiar with it.
And we're going after these illegal grows.
So that's fantastic. I think the Attorney General's office in Oklahoma, there's a lot of misconception maybe even about what it does too. And maybe we can kind of come back to that. But but to that end, what specific problem maybe is there like a specific problem, or maybe the one that you're the most focused on that you're like, I'm going to go solve that because it's not being solved today well? I mean, what is the thing that you would point to? So, and anybody that's seen our social media knows there is nobody running statewide for any office that's put the miles that I have out talking to people. I had a brand new truck when we started this, and it's got 40,000 miles right now. So we have been out there. The number one thing I'm hearing from the citizens is these illegal medical marijuana grows. I mean, that is the number one thing. So if there is one signature issue we're going to have, and that's why I have the backing of the FOP, 57 sheriffs out of the 77, and this will age well because it's going to be more probably by the time people are watching this. That's the number one issue the citizens care about. Now, I will also say the citizens expect the Attorney General to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. You talk about the misconception. People think the Attorney General is the chief DA for the state of Oklahoma. It's really not. That's not the job. You have jurisdiction over any criminal case you want to take over, but you should do that only in the most sparing circumstances. The Attorney General is the lawyer for the taxpayers of the state of Oklahoma. It's uniquely situated to root out corruption and make sure state government is following the law. And that's where I'm uniquely situated. My small business background is where we can trust me to exercise good judgment, but it's my government background where I understand the job and holding state agencies accountable. Yeah, it makes total sense. I love it kind of ties into exactly this next question, which is kind of more specific to what we've been talking about, but I know that you'll pick right up on it. So we have launched our Oklahoma Competes initiative.
Awesome.
And what we're trying to do is really dig into the data about how Oklahoma competes both regionally and nationally. And there's really kind of 4 pillars in that: economic climate, workforce and education, infrastructure, and innovation. As those core pillars, as you're looking at how to make Oklahoma more competitive, where do you think that this office specifically can really dive in and help us figure out how to be more competitive in those areas?
Oh, absolutely. It fits directly in an economic climate and, frankly, in innovation. On economic climate, one of the things that separates me in the race is I'm the only one that's ever started their own business from scratch, been the one that actually had to take the loan on, knows what it's like to be responsible for a payroll. And when I say responsible for a payroll, I mean, if you don't make it, it's on you. It's not somebody else's money. And I've done that about 9 times, employed thousands of people. You would have somebody who is a regulator of industry that understands the difference between somebody who made a mistake and needs to be taught how to do it right and somebody who's gaming the system and needs to be held accountable. And we can use the Attorney General's office to have the best regulatory environment in the country. The rules need to be clear, they need to be easy to understand, and then they need to be enforced. And it's important you have somebody that has that level of business background. And then in innovation, I actually think it can play a role there. We are moving forward with this next development of what we're going to do with AI technology, and frankly, what we're going to do with blockchain technology. That's much older than AI. But how are we going to regulate those? Well, as somebody who has those connections in the legislature, I'm going to have a hand in how they craft that policy and then continue on in that regulation. So business owners are going to have somebody that knows what it's like to sit in their chair, to be the guy on the line, because I've sat in their chair.
Yeah.
I know what it's like.
Yeah, well, and that's a perfect segue to my next question. And we ask all candidates, as you know, from legislative races all the way on up, we're firm defenders of free enterprise, right? And what we really are always trying to get to with candidates is, what does free enterprise mean to them? How do they define it? Do they embrace it? And so from the perspective, again, of this office and your personal views on free enterprise, articulate that, but then also how does this office really help and make sure that there's not overreach or that there's not failure to act? What are some things maybe you do differently in that free enterprise space? So define free enterprise for me. What does it mean to Jon Echols? And then as Attorney General, here's how you would use that mindset to really help lead Oklahoma.
Well, free enterprise, in a word, is capitalism. I mean, what it means is we let the market dictate how we treat each other. You have the lightest possible touch from government, and you let the innovators outside the market go do the things that they're going to do. So I was both a practicing lawyer. I've tried cases inside Oklahoma courtrooms numerous times on the defense side. As a matter of fact, when I started, it was a big defense firm, Crowe and Dunlevy, where I tried multiple cases. And then I worked at a smaller firm, Echols and Associates, where, man, golly, 1,000 depositions, it's hard to count, and multiple times, all while doing that, starting my own healthcare companies. And that's where I've been. I've been in the healthcare space. Yeah. And here's what I know I wanted from defining free enterprise. I wanted government to tell me the rules of the game and then to enforce the rules of the game. So perfect example. My first large company that I started, I did something in undergrad, but my first company with over a couple hundred employees was Sooner Medical Staffing. It was a medical staffing company. The law is clear. Those employees were W-2 employees. Every once in a while, though, that company existed for around 20 years. About every 4 years, I'd have a competitor pop up. They would pay their people $10.99. This is going to shock those of you watching. They would beat my price by about 25%. Shocking. Yeah. I mean, it was the burden. That's exactly what it was. Right. I was so frustrated, because all of these were before I was in state government. I could never get state government to act. After a couple years, they'd finally do something about it. Well, they did nothing to that market share that I would lose. What frustrated me was, whatever the rules are, just apply them, make them clear. That's what this job does. So coming full circle, what's so important is to have somebody who both understands the legal system, understands that, but also understands what it's like to be the entrepreneur, understands what it's like to be the guy running the business. And that's where we can create the best regulatory environment for the state.
Yeah, that's perfectly dovetails in, and that question was teed up for you, but I really appreciate it, and I think that's kind of the point of these interviews is we're really trying to dig into how that view of free enterprise colors how people are going to work in these roles, and I think it's really important to have that perspective. And as you know from your time in the legislature, you just get a different viewpoint when you've been on the other side. When you sign the front of the check and not just the back of the check, it's just a different viewpoint. Fair?
Everybody loves talking about their businesses that succeed. I got to tell you, we could do a whole other interview because I love to teach entrepreneurship. I've learned more from my businesses that either failed or got real close to failing. That understood, my largest company has over 1,000 employees in 15 different states. I understand regulatory environments in multiple states, even as a fifth-generation Oklahoman who's made their life here. When you've had that experience and you've seen what it's like to sign both sides of the check, and at the end of the day, you're doing your best to take care of your employees. The vast majority of entrepreneurs are out there doing the right thing, but you also don't want a regulatory environment where everybody gets away with everything. Because who does that punish? That punishes the people that are playing by the rules. That's what we need. Somebody that will enforce the rules.
So as it relates to kind of that enforcing of the rules, and one of the jobs that the Attorney General has is really making the legal environment that we would say is predictable for business. And how do we create a legal environment that allows businesses to thrive? Where does Oklahoma fall short in that now? Where are some things that you would like to see addressed that make the legal climate better for business in Oklahoma?
Yeah, one of the things, we'll just hit it right off the bat, we should have changed the Judicial Nominating Commission. One of the last things we did while I was in the legislature is the Senate was able to pass a change to the JNC. It failed in the House, but I voted for it. We need to be able to make that change. We've had some common sense tort reform measures that have been struck down by the courts. We need to go back and look at those measures and find ways to make sure we are becoming a place that is fair to do business in, a place we want to do business in. As a matter of fact, if you look at it, when I was in the legislature early on when I ran the tort reform package, that's not true, my first year in the legislature.
Dove right in.
Yeah, I dove right in. Well, I ran two things my first year in the legislature. You remember, I ran the Workers' Compensation Reform in Committee as a first-year member. Again, I'm a good businessman, but I'm a good lawyer too. That's what I do. I argued cases in court. So I carried the Workers' Compensation Reform, which has been a great success. We carried 4 of the bills when we struck down, had to do some tort reform. We have to set up an economic and a court system that matches the conservative principles of the citizens we have in this state. And I've always been a proponent for that as somebody who's lived it on both sides of this. I own healthcare companies. This is going to shock you. My companies have been sued before. Now, I have not been. I didn't do anything. But that's part of doing that. You want an environment that everybody knows what they're going to get, and we have consistency. Where if you do have injury, those people deserve to be compensated. But we certainly don't want to put businesses out of business that don't deserve it.
And I think that's always been the goal of the state chamber and working with you all is making sure we balance. Like I got to have access to the courts. Got to be fair.
Of course.
But to your point, you've got to just make sure that everyone understands the rule, plays by them, and it's fair for business, because that's really, at the end of the day, what's going to be a distinguishing difference between it being a pro-business state and not.
Well, and for somebody like me, I get to run on my record. I have a 12-year A rating with the state chamber. It used to be the Reed Report. Now it's something else.
That's right.
I get to run on, I'm going to be who I've been. I can run as a common sense pro-business legislator and as a problem solver. You said it to begin with. I was the guy that all the hard bills came to. I was the guy that brought everybody together and was able to come up with that common sense legislation, and I'm going to be able to do that as the Attorney General.
So 4 years from now, you just get done, you're finishing up your 4th year as Attorney General. Let's project out. What do you want Oklahoma voters to say that you accomplished 4 years from now? They'll go, Jon Echols got that done and it was the right thing to do. What does that look like for you?
3 things. I'm running on really 3 specific things: safer, freer, stronger. I want them to know I did what I said I was going to do, which is back law enforcement. I take that FOP endorsement, those sheriff endorsements, I take those serious. We are going to get rid of these Chinese grows, mostly Chinese, syndicate-backed grows, and these cartel-backed grows inside Oklahoma. I'm going to stand for our religious freedom. I'm unashamedly conservative. I make no bones about it. Already been endorsed by CPAC. I've actually already been endorsed by Jordan Sekulow. And if any of your viewers know who the ACLJ is, that's the largest legal conservative organization in the country. And we're going to stand for those values. And then I think I am uniquely situated to be the best Attorney General we've had in holding state government accountable, which is the freer part. You talked about Loft. I created the Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency that was the one that went after these government inefficiencies. That's what I'll be known for. And I'm going to run again. I don't come from a politically connected family. As a matter of fact, I'm third generation from poverty. That's what a lot of people don't know. Both my parents, my mom's first to ever go to college, they grew up on the wrong side of the tracks in southwest Oklahoma City. I shouldn't be here in the first place. But what we built and what we're so proud of, the law changed my life. They met in law school. And because of that, I grew up a lawyer's kid. For me, the Attorney General's office is not a stepping stone. This is something that I've always looked up to and wanted to do, and I'm proud of that. So 4 years from now or after I win it, you won't see me on a ballot for Washington, you won't see me on a ballot for governor. You're going to see me on the ballot back for Attorney General because I think there's work to be due, and man, I just love this spot.
Well, I don't know how we could maybe end on a better note than that. I'd give you a shot, but I think you nailed it. Again, I want to sincerely thank you for being willing to serve, for serving your time in the legislature, and then serving again. And you know full well, these positions are sacrifice. They really are. They're hard on your family. You're giving up time away from your business, and you're just your own personal endeavors take a back seat to service. Thank you for doing that. We at the State Chamber are always out recruiting good candidates, and we only get as good a government as the candidates that are willing to come in and serve, and thank you for doing it, and thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me on. I sure appreciate you, Chad. Thanks for having me.